Hi, it's Paulie here. Bing. So I first got into gaming in the 70s when I got to high school. So 12 years old, and wandered into the library, and there was this wonderful book. We call it the Purple Primer. It was the Airfix book of ancient wargaming. And this just opened my eyes to this amazing world of all these ancient cultures that I hadn't been aware of. Suddenly a 12-year-old kid is finding out about Sassanid Persia and the Macedonian successors, and you're finding out about, properly about Assyria and, Uyghurs and Chinese dynasties, and just amazing stuff. That Airfix book was written by a married couple, Phil Barker and Sue Barker, and they were the heart and soul of an English group called the War Games Research Group. And the War Games Research Group, they just shine. They were designers of miniatures rules par excellence, and they did kind of the core rules that the community played for like 30 odd years. You played WIG rules as standard. And the Ancients rules went through many different iterations. However, in the 90s they came up with this little gem here. This is Bellis Antiquitatis. It's called DBA, Battles of Ancient Times. And it's wonderful. And if you haven't played miniatures, this could be your entry. It's still out there. It's still played. It's a living game. You can play it online. You can play it virtually. Wonderful stuff. Now, what this did was, miniature games up to then, you had figures, individual figures, and the figures kind of fought individually. You roll a dice per figure. You do all this, or you count up factors or whatever. This had this idea of having elements, which they had adopted from their latest iteration of their own rules. They decided that what we're going to do is we're going to have a base which has a number of miniatures on it. The rules tell you how many, and it is just a troop type, and we have specific troop types. So in this, what they said is there are things like knight, which is mounted troops that fight through heavy frontal impact, charging lancers, or some sorts of very heavy chariots that crash into things, or cataphracts, heavy armoured cataphracts that barge in with their kontos, their long two-handed lances and so on. They've got another one, cavalry. These are guys that are equipped with missile weapons and melee weapons that don't rely so much on frontal charges. Things like Roman cavalry that circulate and fire a shower of javelins and so on to try and disrupt a unit before they charge in, or medieval style Persian cavalry, armoured but with bows and so on, who will try and wear an enemy down before charging in. Turkish spies, this sort of thing. So, less do or die. Light cavalry that fight skirmishing and you will also get, in the infantry, you get blade, which is things like Roman troops who are essentially sword and shield fighters. They're getting stuck in. Long spear and pike, which fight in depth, light infantry skirmishers and so on, and warband, which is sort of the hordes of sword-waving Gauls and these sorts of things. So elephants and what have you. So you've got these set things, and what they have is a system where each of these has a number, and it was very simple. You roll a dice and you add the number to the dice. Essentially, if you beat the other guy base to base, if you beat him, you push him back. If you double him, you destroy him. So if I've got lancers, which is 4, and I'm charging at blade, which defend against cavalry for 3, I'm rolling a dice plus 4, he's rolling a dice plus 3, and I have to see if I can double him. It's kind of hard. But some of these types trump others. So some of them, you don't destroy them if you double, you destroy just if you beat them. So lancers are very good at kind of beating close order stuff if they bash into it. Elephants are. Conversely, there's some surprises, like light infantry skirmishers are quite good at facing down elephants. So these actual tactical things from ancient times reflected very simply in these rules. Now, the sweet thing was, a huge army list, and every single army in the game is 12 of these elements, 12 bases of troops. Everyone has a list, and they've got a list in there of like basically every army in antiquity. You want to do New Kingdom Egypt, you want to do Han Chinese, you want to do Soyo Korean, you want to do, whatever. You really feel like doing Antipater's Macedonians, then they're all in there, and it's got what troops you can purchase for your 12 So it'll say you must have this, 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 and this, and you fill out the rest with decide you can have a couple of these, a couple of these, a couple of these, until you get 12. The thing is beautifully designed essentially to be played on a 2-foot square board. So you can just sit down and play this, and the games are relatively short. They're relatively simple, they're easy to bring to a conclusion, they're tactically very challenging. So what you can do is play like a campaign. You can get a whole bunch of people and say, we're going to play a map campaign, and they've got a very simple campaign system in here for essentially linked locations, and you fight a battle and whoever wins can advance to the next one and whatever. So you could play like the fall of Alexander, here is his general squabbling for supremacy, or you could we're going to do Caesar and Roman civil wars, or you just make a map of the world. We've done this world size with lots of people playing. You can play like a little campaigny thing from their campaign system in here, just a basic map. You can play it over an afternoon. We've had times where we've had half a dozen players in, and we just spent a day just happily playing this. Now, another part of the fun is you can make these 2-foot square boards, and you can make them very specific to the army or the thing that you're playing. So you've got like a little contest, or you're doing stuff with your friends. Say you want to do, you've seen the movie Alexander Nevsky and you want to do the mighty ice battle. All right, we'll get a piece of polystyrene tile or something. Maybe you might want to get like an old mirror or something to put down there as the ice lake. Get some good old white glue or something, pour that over it and kind of let it set a bit so it's a little bit kind of iced over and mysterious, and you've got the ice lake to fight this battle on, and you bring that along. Boom, we're playing on the ice lake. Someone wants to do a ancient Egyptian thing. Great, take a board, we're going to paint it yellow, we're going to cover it with some sand and so on. I've got a couple of cool kind of Egyptian monoliths and so on that I found at a dime store down the road, so I can make some Egyptian stuff. Boom, I've got an Egyptian board. So it was really fun making these boards for it. Because you've only got 12 bases and close order troops like, say, blades or knights, you've got about 4 figures on them. Other ones like cavalry and so on, you've got 3 figures, and skirmishery sorts like light cavalry, light infantry, you've got 2. So you're not being asked to paint many figures. So you can do this in like 15mm for nothing, pocket money, $30 armies. You can go and you can get some of these plastic armies that are out there. There's all these Zvezda things and so on out there for 1/72 scale, and lots of 28mm stuff and so on at the moment. So you can play this in 28mm, 1/72, nothing. It's really just going to cost you a box of miniatures for like $20. So incredibly budget friendly, enormously good fun, and so much fun that this continues onwards. Now, Phil Barker did these, and I owe the guy drinks for doing this because of the amount of fun that it's brought us. It is a truly foundation game. It is fun, it is simple, it is joyous. They went on and they made a more complex version of this called DBM, and for that I in fact owe him a punch in the teeth, because it became adopted as the set of rules that everyone played, and it brought in a competition mentality, and suddenly games conventions of people shrieking and yelling at each other and cries of "it's only 2mm, god damn it," and brought in guys with rubber rulers and all kinds of like strange things, and essentially nuke the site from orbit. It was the only way to be sure. People have moved on now, and they've crawled forward out of the desolate smoking pit that ancients became, and moved on to the green fields beyond. Thank you. But this remains in play, and it's beautiful. Have a look. You can find it all over the place. I'll put some links in the video. It's a really joyous little thing, and if you haven't been a miniatures player, this will get you in easily and for nothing, and you can play it with your friends, and it's a delight. If you are a miniatures player and you never played this, then there may be something wrong with you. If you are a miniatures player and you sort of like, you played this years ago and you let it go, have another look at it. They've continued updating it, but they're just minor niggles. Whatever old copy you've got down there in your mum's basement is still valid, I assure you. But yeah, re-embrace the joy of this, because it's just damn fun. And all those rules, niggles and so on that were in DBM, that's DBM. They're not in here. This thing's just simple. So look, if you want to do some miniatures and didn't feel like, taking a second job or selling off organs to afford the figures, DBA, go out and have a look for it. Get out there and start miniatures gaming again. Cheers.